thought everyone else had the answers but me. I was like, no, they're going to tell me what to do and they're going to be the ones. Like they have the keys to my success and like they have the secret sauce. If you looked at my calendar, it looked like a bag of Skittles because I invested in all the courses, the programs, the masterminds, the memberships, which led to burnout.
I think there was a huge message of you're not doing enough. If you're not where you want to be, you're not doing enough. You should do more. I think that's a super common message.
It's never a fear of failure.
Yeah.
It's always fear of success because with the success, subconsciously, it's like, well, what is it? Like more eyes on me, more judgment, more criticism. And that's usually what prevents them. I'm not at the revenue that I want to be at, or I've reached a plateau. I'm not attracting consistent clients. And that's what they think the problem is. And it's never the real problem. It's a symptom or behavior of the actual problem, which is I'm not enough, not good enough, not worthy enough, not deserving. Those are typically like the main underlying.
People are finally waking up that it's like, oh, it's more than just behavioral. Like there is a subconscious block. We're in this place where we realize that it's just 95% of our decisions are subconscious.
Welcome to the Fully Expressed podcast.
We're your hosts, Corinna
and Samantha.
And this is the show where we're inviting you into your fullest expression in life, love, and business.
Enjoy.
Welcome back to another episode on the Fully Expressed podcast.
Today's episode features Julie Costa, who is a master business hypnotherapist and trainer, helping women elevate their sales, their visibility, and their leadership.
We're so excited for you guys to hear this because, as you guys know, as we move through the world, living our fullest expressed self, our subconscious blocks are going to come up. And Julie is such an incredible practitioner and really not only shared the gifts of hypnotherapy, but gave us light into her own real world process. And I think you guys are all really going to resonate with and realize what she's stepping into and working through.
Enjoy.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
I'm so happy you're here. And so I feel so special to have you on in person, which is like, because you don't live here.
Yeah.
I don't live here. I am on the complete opposite
Opposite side,
coast
yeah.
and opposite side of the country.
Which is so cool.
So this is special.
Yeah, this is so special. And we met at EOB last year and just been following your content. You're an incredible subconscious hypnosis, all the things. And I'm just so excited to like dive into what it really is to like to be an entrepreneur and be a fully expressed entrepreneur.
Yes.
So good. So good. So my very first question, I mean, maybe we can just start with like your journey at the beginning of entrepreneurship and what that really not only looked like externally, but like even more like what did that look like internally?
Not pretty. Not pretty. I got into entrepreneurship by accident. So I worked for Lululemon for 10 years. I don't know if you knew.
No.
Yeah. So I was slinging black stretchy pants for a good 10 years and started as like sales associate, worked up to a key leader, assistant store manager. Was there 10 years and thought it was going to be a career. I kept going. And then it came to a point where I just stopped drinking the Kool-Aid. And I started speaking up more and eventually got fired because of said speaking up more.
Oh, wow.
And it propelled me really into the world of entrepreneurship because I knew I had taken a 6-week sabbatical and I came back and like I knew I had something on my heart to do business-wise, but I wasn't sure what it was. And so I just went out and did it. And it was a community for health and wellness fitness professionals because that was the space that I was in and saw a demand for. It was very like catty, competitive. And I was like, you guys don't understand when you can actually like work together, support each other, like the amount that you can learn and grow. So that's what it became. And my God, when I first started, it was like comparison, but I was also in the mindset of like, I'm going to, get after Lululemon and like show them. So that was my mindset for a good 2 years of just thinking like, oh, I'm going to like show them what I can do. And I feel like any entrepreneur's journey, COVID happened and shifted things. Cause I think at that point it grew to like, we had 85 members. We were hosting really big events with like 220 women. And then I started pivoting to more business coaching because these professionals who were more in the health and wellness space had brick and mortar fitness, like boutique fitness studios, closing doors, losing jobs, and they needed additional streams of revenue. So I pivoted to more business coaching. And oh my God, comparison, undercharging, over-delivering, burnout. My mindset was not good. I was spread out way too thin. And during that time, that's when I stumbled on hypnotherapy.
Yeah. What were some of the patterns or like kind of weaving through your mindset at the beginning of entrepreneurship that you recognized at the time?
that I recognized at the time. Well,
Or
the
maybe
whole
even looking back?
yeah, I think for me it was like the philosophy of like you have to do more
Mm.
in order to get more or receive more. The like working more hours, the hustling harder. I also thought it was going to be strategy that got me to
Mm.
where I wanted to be or desired to be. So if you looked at my calendar, and I think I might have talked about this yesterday, it looked like, and Erin says this, my mentor all the time, it looked like a bag of Skittles because I invested in all the courses, the programs, the masterminds, the membership. So it was like I thought I was going to out strategize my way
Mm.
Mm.
to where I wanted to be, which led to burnout
Mm.
because I was also outsourcing my own knowing.
Right.
Talk about that part.
Well, I thought everyone else had the answers but me. I was like,
Mm.
no, they're going to tell me what to do and they're going to be the ones, or like they have the keys to my success and like I'm going to invest in them. They have the secret sauce or like that thing that I don't know yet. And so I outsourced a lot of my own power,
Mm.
my own like inner wisdom for a
So
long
how
time.
did burnout bring that awareness to you?
Yes, I entered into I don't like to use this term, but for lack of a better term, I really entered into like a very slight depression
Mm.
after undercharging, over delivering, serving a lot of people because I wanted to make an impact, investing in all of the things because I also had a full after I got fired from Lululemon, I had a full-time job because I was buying a house with my now husband. And he's like, you got to pay the mortgage. So I was doing HR and at the same time while I was doing this. And he even said to me, he looked at me one day and he was like, are you okay? Because like I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. I was just like doing too many
Mm.
things. And it wasn't until like that point that I knew something had to shift and change, but it wasn't what I was
Mm.
used to.
Mhm.
And it was hypnotherapy, but I didn't realize it was hypnotherapy at the time, where I was like hearing about subconscious patterns and
Mm.
subconscious beliefs, and it was stuff I haven't been
Mm.
exposed to. And I was like, this feels different.
Mm.
And
Interesting.
that was like kind of the little gateway.
So I kind of want to bring it back to the part where you said about like how do I say pushing more and receiving more. What's in that? Why do we feel that way?
Conditioning.
What is
Mm.
going on with us in that? And like if I just push more, I will receive more. And what is
Conditioning.
also like the actual shift to getting out of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I know for me, it was like my internal programming because my father had his own business while
Mm.
I was growing up. So I saw him working harder,
Right.
working more, and then therefore I equated that to like more success, more money, like the
Mm.
providing for
Mhm.
for our family. And I think we've probably all been exposed to that in like some
Mhm.
capacity. So that was my conditioning. And then I also
Mm.
think, tell me if you've experienced this, but in the online space, a lot of times people are pushing that and promoting that. And then it's almost like if you did get that back in the day, like I did, it's like that internal conditioning is being validated by now these other people in the world of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's the less, this is my biggest takeaway from this weekend. It's the less doing and the more being.
Being.
The
And it
energy.
sounds very simple.
But is
Not all the
it?
time, no.
Well, it is once you, it sounds like,
Yeah.
deprogram yourself,
Yes.
then it's easier to just be in ease.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I think there was a huge message of you're not doing enough. If you're not where you want to be, you're not doing enough. You
Yep.
should do more. I think
Yeah.
that's a super common message. I
Yeah.
mean, because if you think about even from a non-entrepreneurial place of like climbing the corporate ladder, you have to do the most to get to the top. Like you can't
Yep.
stop.
And
You
that's
have
like
to
an
keep going.
honorary thing to do in corporate.
Totally.
I mean,
Work
you
like
hear it, and
80-hour
you're like,
weeks. Yeah.
you share it in your interviews. Be like, I climbed the corporate ladder. It's like a thing that we use to
Yes.
prove to ourselves that we are worthy or successful
Yes.
or achieving. And it's like, is it?
And in retail, it's very competitive if you're working on commission and it's not in it. I mean, there's some retail environments I've worked in my early years where it was like not competitive. You took turns taking
Yes.
people, but that's not usually the case. It's typically you're trying to go after every person and get the most commission. So it's also teaching competition
Yeah.
and scarcity.
Yeah. And it was interesting in the world of retail I was in because it was preached very publicly work-life balance.
Mm.
And then when you were actually immersed into it, it was actually quite the opposite.
Interesting.
And so that's pretty much the elements of like what I started speaking up more about was like, hey, this is what we're preaching publicly, but behind the scenes, this is actually not.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love the company. I had learned like so much from them. And what was like, we were continuously goal setting. So when you go back to that, like not doing enough or not being enough, we were consistently pushing and moving the goalpost to
Yeah.
like, what's that next role? And that's what kept us there. Because I was like, oh, I started as a sales associate. Nope, I'm going to be a key leader. And then you got that. I'm like, nope, I'm going to be an assistant store manager. Nope,
Right.
no, it's a store manager. So that was ingrained too.
That's so funny. We were just talking about that in our own episode, just with even numbers, like financially. Like Sam brought this up. She's like, we're always using like, okay, I made 500K. Now I want the 700,
Yeah.
you know, and then I want the next thing.
Moving.
Like we're constantly moving the thing versus just being where you're at and trusting that being will lead you where you're meant to go.
Yeah. Easy to say.
Yes, harder
It's very
to do.
hard
Yeah.
to be in. Yeah.
Totally. Well, because it is like the deepest program is, and there was a book called The Happiness Project or
Yeah.
and it talked about that, over a certain number, there does not equate to more happiness, but we, especially in America, are like, I mean, we are entrepreneurial capital of the world. Like you have to be a millionaire, you have to keep going, you have to push. And I think so often that leads to so many people getting completely just wrecked and discouraged and missing out on the present moment of what they already have because it's never enough.
Yeah. And we never celebrate what we do accomplish. So I know like with my students, like I always kick off every call, like, what are you celebrating today? Or like, what are you celebrating this week? Because it allows them to like be in the act of celebration and then also like witness others in it. And that's also interesting too, because like your own parts will pop up if you're still in that like not enoughness.
Yeah.
But it gets you used to it, like the actual celebration of things, which
Yeah.
I think is important.
So I'm so curious, like, where am I going to go with this? But I was going to ask, like, from a subconscious hypnosis perspective, what are some of the beliefs or the stories that people run into that are blocking them to get
Yeah.
to this place of just like being and receiving?
Yeah. Well, I always like to say it's never like what we think it is. That's never the real problem. Right? It's like, oh, like my messaging is not right. Like when it comes to business or I'm not attracting the amount of clients. Because for me, I hear all the time I'm not at the revenue that I want to be at, or I've reached a plateau. I'm not attracting consistent clients. And that's what they think the problem is. And it's never the real problem. It's a symptom or behavior of the actual problem, which is typically like the core ones are like, I'm not enough, not good enough, not worthy enough, not deserving. Those are typically like the main underlying.
It's so interesting. We were sitting in the round tables at EOB this year. That was it was so, I just hopped in a group. I didn't know any of them. And like all this, it's always kismet who you end up with. Like
Always.
you're just like, this is crazy. But listening to all of them, it's, they all have these offers that they're wanting to and the goal underneath is to help people, to be of assistance. But you can hear in the offer that, at least in my group, I was like, you don't fully own your offer. Like you're not fully believing. There's a belief happening here that you don't deserve to get paid this much, or that you don't believe in it fully. And they don't even hear it because they're just like, but I have this great offer. But like, do you have a great offer? Like, how do you really feel about it?
Until it comes time to like present it.
Yes.
Because we'll work behind the scenes on it all we want. But when it comes time to like present it and like talk about it, that's usually like, like the fear of visibility, the fear of, it's never a fear of failure.
Yeah.
It's always fear of success, but people identify more with the fear of failure piece. Because with the success, it's like, okay, well, if I put myself out there, if I put my offer out there more subconsciously, it's like, well, what is it? Like more eyes on me, more visibility, more judgment, more criticism. But then also like, well, what am I going to gain or lose in that process? And it might be like, oh, maybe I'm going to lose like family time if I have to like do more. And that's usually what prevents them.
So how do you have people work through that? Like what are
I mean, I take everybody through like my signature process. So I never do like one-off single sessions. It's typically a 6-session process where first session is like, I'm just getting context about the situation. So I have like a specific set of questions that go both to the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. But in that instance, because again, they're coming for what they think the problem is, but I'm getting to like what the real problem is in that first session. And I'm just listening for things like, okay, that's a limiting belief. That's a negative stuck emotion. They have values misaligned. They have conflicting parts. And then it's literally creating the roadmap for where we're going to go. And it's a little bit of a release. You got to like clear out the murky waters before you can actually reprogram. So I take them through a little bit of a process across 6 sessions.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do they constantly? So I'm thinking about the visibility one, right? Because like being fully expressed is
Mhm.
communicating the offer, telling what you say.
Yes.
It's living in expression of self
Yeah.
externally. It's taking what's internally outwardly. Um, is there like I think of it as like a visibility tolerance. So it's like
Mhm.
there's like these stretches in like different parts of business. Like the more that you grow as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you kind of meet new edges. Like you said,
Always.
like more visibility, more being seen, more responsibility.
Yes. That came up
That
at my
comes
table
that
this
comes up
weekend with
with
Did
someone.
it?
Yeah.
comes
Responsibility.
up with success. Like
Yeah.
you're like, oh, like I become successful. It means more responsibility, more people I have
Yes.
to lead, more people that I'm gonna be in whatever. And it's so interesting to witness that.
Yeah. That came up at my table this weekend. When we were, again, talking about offers, it was a fear of responsibility because she is growing and scaling, having people underneath her now. So the responsibility, and it was the responsibility and like a fear of risks or like what could potentially happen, like what risks would be there. Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, it's as we're talking about it, and if you're listening, like you can see that there are these pieces that come up. And I'm curious in your own process as you've built your business, because I think you said you had your biggest year last year.
Yeah.
Um, what edges do you either continue to meet
Mhm.
or
All the time.
are new ones? I don't know
Yeah.
if they're like new, but
Yeah. Yeah.
or you
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
be like, oh, this must have
Rediscovered.
been here
Yeah.
forever, but I'm finally running into you, like I'm curious what
Yes.
that is for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot. I'll speak from right now because it's real and I'm in it right now. So coming off my biggest year of business, and I do run a certification program where I teach and train others the same work. And last year we had 26 students in
Mm.
our cohort,
Mm.
which was amazing. And this year we have 6.
Mm.
And the big thing I shared yesterday too is like being mindful of the language where I'm like, it's not just 6, it's not only 6, because it's really easy to diminish that. But 6, and it's a difference for sure. And then nervous system wise, it's also like, okay, how do I regulate myself to make up for that missed revenue? So I
Mhm.
don't let these old parts pop up and allow me to spiral and just stop what I'm doing. Um, so I continue, I mean, I'm an embodiment of my own work when I think of being fully expressed, like daily. I am doing stuff myself. I work with my mentor, Erin, all of the time. But right now, I'd say coming off of my biggest year, I'm definitely in a stretch season for
Mhm.
sure, where the difference in the cohorts, I also got married last year. So having those expenses,
Mhm.
I had some interesting things happen behind the scenes with some like a student and payments and then
Mm.
ghosting. So that was a first for navigation. And then I also made the choice to intentionally invest in a rebrand, which being in a slower quarter, because I mean, I shared with you and I'll openly share here, like was in the red in January,
Mhm.
in the red in February. So in Q1, I'm in the red this year, coming off my biggest year. And I'm very neutral about it because I know where I'm going to land.
Mhm.
Mm.
And it's always continuing to do the work. But I mean, my parts pop up all the time. Like my biggest, I'd say, limiting beliefs are I'm not good enough and I'm not smart enough.
Mm.
Mm. That's a big one for
So
people.
they will still pop up, but I can move through them a lot
Yeah.
Quicker.
quicker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't stay there.
How do you stay neutral? I mean, you said your tools, but like, how did you get to neutrality? Because I don't think people realize that that is literally such a gift.
Yeah.
Such a gift to be able to
Such a
stay
gift.
neutral in moments of that could be scarcity for someone else, or that could put them into a
Hmm.
dysregulated state, or can like spiral them into like, shit, all right,
Yes.
I'm gonna just not listen to my intuition anymore. I'm gonna do everything I can to work harder,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna
Hmm.
get hard on myself for the rebrand, right? Like
Yeah.
all those conversations and voices can come up. So how do you stay in the neutral?
I think just reminding myself, I mean, because it could be easy. I could continue to invest money and like outsource my own power and be like, oh no, they'll probably know better because I am in the red this quarter. Uh, I think it comes back to like, what are the practices in which you can come back to trusting yourself?
Mm.
Mm.
Like, yes, there's subconscious reprogramming. Yes, there's somatic tools. And I think the practice of just trusting yourself, like, I have so much trust that, like, I'm like, the woman I do work with back home energetically, she's like, if you imagine yourself like an elastic, I know I want to be stretched abundantly this year.
Mhm.
And you do need to also feel neutral in that stretch, abundance. And right now I'm being stretched this way.
Yeah.
So I'm being stretched the complete opposite way.
But it's creating
But you need to
capacity
be
for
neutral.
capacity.
Exactly.
The whole
And
way.
you need to
Yeah.
be neutral the whole way.
Yeah.
So I think the trust in myself that I know I'm fully resourced.
Mm-hmm.
So like I know, and I talked about this Thursday in my talk, like being flexible.
Mm.
I know I can be flexible and think of the offers that I have and how I can repackage them in order to bring in
Mhm.
additional revenue. So I think the trusting, being flexible, things don't always have to be a certain way. There are
Mhm.
different ways you can do things in business to bring in additional, streams of revenue.
I think too, the more you look at entrepreneurship across all boards, like not just coaching, but any avenue, is that you're going to have good months, bad months. Like that's just entrepreneurship. And
Yeah.
as someone who makes jewelry, like, and I make commissions, I don't have a line at this point, is like I'm used to having large sums of money at one time. And you just have to get used to
Yes.
like, okay, this month it's less, this month it's more. How do I navigate
Yes.
that and find the piece? I mean, make smart decisions with the money, but then also find the piece of like, okay, it's okay either way. That's exactly what I need this month, or I would have received more.
Yes.
Really. I
Yeah.
mean, I trust that that is all I need for this moment, and I'm open to receiving more, but working harder or pushing isn't going to necessarily turn the dial to like receive more money either.
Mhm.
100%. I was having actually this conversation with a student because everybody was talking about like revenue goals this past weekend of like the 20K months, the 15K months. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like you were saying, entrepreneurship, it's never going to always,
Yeah.
you're going to be like this, like all
Yeah.
the time, right?
Forever. Yeah.
Forever. And so I said to her, and she's also a client, and I know what she is walking into,
Mhm.
into expansion and scaling with her business. And I was like, with where I know she's pricing things and the amount of people she wants to bring in, when I did the math, I was like, if you knew by the end of this year you have that like $240,000, would you still be feeling the same way right now? And because she was so hard set on like the 20K month.
Right.
And she's like, no. And I was like, because it can come in different lump sums.
yeah.
It doesn't
Could
need
be
to
at
be
any
this,
time.
right. It doesn't need to be this consistent
Mhm.
thing, or we think we're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you have a 50K month, I think that you're great for,
Take that. We would
yeah, you know what I
welcome
mean?
that.
Like 3 months, you're solid. 4 months. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
It also made me think of there are also entrepreneurs out there that are like, I need $200,000. And then you ask them that same exact question, they're going to be like, I will still be nervous because they don't know how to actually hold
Regulate,
or
hold it.
feel
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
$200,000. And they're still in this dysregulated state
Yeah.
of being like, wait, no, I need more. Like I always
Yes.
need more. There needs to be more, or I
Mhm.
feel scarcity. I remember a really good friend who started just like making a lot of money. And she's like, it's so funny. Like I look at my bank account and there's hundreds and thousands of dollars in my bank account, but I still feel uneasy.
Yeah.
I still feel like I need to make more. I still feel like I
Mhm.
don't have enough.
Yep.
And so it's not always just the numbers.
No.
I mean, I
Because-
think there's a lot of millionaires that feel that way.
yes.
Totally.
Well, because again, it can go back to like that internal conditioning of like, depending on how, actually, I have a good example with one past client. I think it was her dad was in like network marketing, whatever like the old school version of network marketing was back in the day, and they lost everything.
Mm.
And so if you witness something like that, you're always going to think it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Even though like you see it physically in this bank account, they have that belief underneath that like it's going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
There was a
tomorrow.
woman in my group that had that same issue. And actually, another person in the group had a great suggestion because her concern was, okay, I'm good right now, but I'm afraid of losing it. So I asked her, do you have evidence of feeling that, of experiencing that? And she said yes. And this woman suggested, okay, well, what in your life do you have a solid like ground on, right? Like, you know that it's always constant, it's always there. And it was her 3 kids and the love for her 3 kids. It was the best example. I was like, you go, girl. This is a good example. But she was like, what if you, like, every day, she's like, she was a mom too. And she's like, every day I wake up, I know my child's there and that love is never going to dissipate. And so she said, what if you could borrow from that and realize that like, oh, there is evidence that something can be consistent in your life, you know? And I thought that was just such a beautiful example. And to your point is like, if we can't find the ways to regulate regardless of the number, then the number will never be enough.
Never be enough. Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
So true. Yeah. So good.
So good. I had a question about hypnotherapy and subconscious work. So can you tell me what that is? Let's just tell the group what it is.
Yes.
Oh yeah, good call.
I was like, I think
Yes.
we need to kind of describe
Define
it because
it,
we
yeah.
hear subconscious work, hypnotherapy, but like I would love to hear your definition.
Yeah. So what I share with a lot of people, because their first instinct is thinking, did you guys ever, when I was in high school, we would have like the R-rated hypnotist or comedian hypnotist. Is that
I didn't come to
available here in
school, but
California?
I knew they existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
they
that's what
hypnotize
everybody
you.
thinks that hypnotherapy is, or they think I'm going to make them bark like a dog or cluck like a chicken. Like that's where it always goes. Because my first question is like, okay, what do you think it is?
I mean,
And
I went to the Magic Castle in LA and was the person that got hypnotized. I don't think he made me cluck, but it was weird. It was crazy. I was like, I can't be hypnotized. Like it was wild.
it's what, and the thing is
Yeah.
that
Like,
is like, that
I don't
stuff
think
is
I've ever told her
real.
that, but yeah.
It's real, but it's just
I'll never
different.
know what I did, you guys.
Well, here's the good news though. Because your subconscious mind, the part of the mind we work with in hypnotherapy, it is highly moral and highly ethical.
Yeah.
There is hypnotherapy that's happening. It's just very different. And so they're
Yeah.
having people in the crowds like scout the people who are more suggestible.
Mhm.
But it also means that like
How
you
rude. No, I'm just kidding.
it's part of the role, part of their job. Not what I do. Not what I do. But the good news is you can never do anything that you don't want to do. Like
Yeah.
you can't be made to do something against your will.
Mhm.
And that's what a lot of people, they think it's mind control. I'm not going to know what happens. Easiest way to explain it, it's simply a relaxed state where there's more focused attention.
Mm.
And we actually go into hypnosis multiple times a day. It's a natural state. So let's say I know for me back home, maybe you guys have this. If you're driving somewhere, like you don't have to set a GPS or anything on your phone. You just like, like the back of your hand how to get there. And sometimes we kind of like,
You're like, how did I get here?
exactly. That's a hypnotic state.
I don't remember
I mean, that
driving here.
happens to me when I'm like just going. I'm like, oh no, I missed the exit. I thought I was going that way, and I was like, wait, no,
Hypnotic state.
Yeah,
So like
okay.
we go into it multiple times a day. And the whole goal is, I mean, throughout the day, our brain waves are like going like this. That's kind of crazy. And all hypnosis does is like slow the brain waves down. So like the ego's not talking. The part of the mind that overanalyzes or overthinks or is like, you can't do that, right? Like it just slows the brain waves down. And when you actually slow the conscious brain waves down, then your subconscious mind is more open to receive suggestions that you otherwise wouldn't take in.
Okay, so I'm gonna take it as a compliment that they saw that I was suggestive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They're like, this girl's checked out over here. She'll be perfect.
She's great.
She's
Get her.
staring off into the
the
distance.
ethers.
Yeah. And
She's up in
so
the clouds.
it helps with certain things like, because I mean, entrepreneurship, we can have a goal of like, I want the 50K months or, whatever we're talking about revenue wise. And the goal sounds great on paper, right? Yep, we get the goal, but it's the things that are going to come up that we're going to end up self-sabotaging so we don't reach the goal.
Mhm.
And that's what hypnosis helps with, is the in the background, like sabotaging.
This, I know you teach other people how to do this. So what is the gift of learning this skill for your clients?
Yes. What's been really cool, because I did the numbers out of, I think I have 77 students now. Out of the 77, 38% were one-on-one clients beforehand. So they experienced the work, saw the benefit, and then were like, I want to learn this. Whether it's because I have two camps. You either join for yourself to just like learn because as you're learning, you have to practice. And you can't practice on hypothetical situations. Like you have to practice on real life situations. So what becomes really great is, oh, there's something you want to work on. You're literally transforming yourself in the process because you're practicing all of the time with all the different tools we have. And then I have the people in the other camp who are like, I'm just coming to learn for my business. Because let's say you are, I'm trying to think, we've had so many different industries, a financial planner. Well, you're working with clients who maybe you keep having the same conversation about budgeting, but they don't want to budget, or they keep not budgeting, or they're not saving. It's not a behavioral thing, it's a subconscious block. So now they can support them in that aspect so they can actually do the budgeting and the saving. Or visibility, social media strategist or a coach, they're having the same conversation about showing up and being on camera. And the client's probably like, yes, this is what I want to do because I want the more visibility, but then they're not doing it. It's not a behavioral thing, it's a subconscious block. So now that social media person can support them with actually doing the thing. So a lot of business owners are wanting to learn for the aspect of helping their clients out.
I love that you use two totally different industries to like describe that, because I think first person goes to like I am a coach, or like
Yes.
I'm already a life coach, or I'm already a therapist, or
Mhm.
like it's a different industry, but I mean, feels like an aligned industry, but those industries are just completely out of the works, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, I'm just dedicated to my. I feel like, can a dentist have this? Like, what if
Yeah.
you have a dentist?
Yes.
A
Yes.
dentist comes and you're like constantly having your clients come. You're like, you need to
Yes.
brush your teeth, and they're like, I'm not going to brush my teeth.
Yes.
I'm going to.
There
They
is a
don't.
dentist in LA actually that does use
So
hypnotherapy for, she's a holistic dentist, and she specifically attracts and targets people that have a fear of dentistry. And
I
she
love
uses
that.
hypnosis, like what you're speaking to help them let go of the fears around
Mhm.
dentistry,
Yep.
which I think is really
Which is
cool.
so cool. Now I think
Yeah.
about a lawyer. Like, I'm just like, my mind
I've
is
had
blown.
Yeah.
lawyers.
You've had lawyers?
She was actually there this weekend at
Oh,
Energetics. So
yeah.
she was on the panel yesterday. So she is
Oh yeah, the divorce or the mediator, right?
now she's more of a mediator, and so she brings in subconscious reprogramming and nervous system regulation to support in the mediation process.
I love that.
Divorce
And I love that
mediation.
she's helping couples like not happily divorced, but like make a better split
Yeah.
for their children and for themselves, which is so beautiful.
So
Wait, that
beautiful.
is so cool.
Yeah.
Her role.
I know.
I'm like, you know how fired up people are
I
during
know.
divorce?
Yeah.
Like,
She's
all
basically
their parts are
conscious
coming up.
conscious
so many
uncoupling
parts.
for divorce.
She's amazing, and what she's doing is so unique. And then I'm like, we've had nurses,
Oh, that's interesting.
like dietitians, nutritionists, because same thing when you're meal planning, macros, functional lab testing. A lot of people think it's behavioral, but it's like the subconscious stuff
Oh my
underneath.
gosh.
So, and it's not that it's like this, to have one part is great and to have one part is great, but when you add the two together to what you're doing, it's like a power combo.
That's huge too, because food is such an emotional tool
Huge.
and used so much. It's so hard to disassociate like hunger versus
Yep.
eating because you're uncomfortable or
Mhm.
like emotionally numbing. I mean, there's
Yeah.
just so much around food. I love that.
Yeah. It's been fun.
I love this so much. I'm
Yeah,
like,
there's so many
everyone needs a hypnotherapist.
Yeah.
But I also
Literally.
think, I mean, there was this era where people are finally waking up that it's like, oh, it's more than just behavioral. Like, there is a
Yes.
subconscious block. I'm not just getting hard on myself for my weight, or like there is something more. And I think we're in this place where we realize that it's just 95% of our decisions are subconscious.
All. You know what's funny with like the weight part, and now that I like
Mhm.
am so immersed in this world, you can't like unsee things. I was listening to, it was either an audio or a video when I was really young. Maybe I was between 7 and 9 years old, which is your subconscious. That's all your conscious mind doesn't even start getting really developed until like 10. And I heard my aunt, we were taking a photo. She goes, Julie, suck in your stomach. And I literally
Oh my gosh.
realized, I was like, I'm literally being programmed into this belief because my whole life I've been sucking in my stomach.
Wow.
And when I heard it, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So it's like all those,
Oh, man.
yeah.
I just had
And
It's
a-
like you can't
do you have a
unsee or
similar
unhear
realization?
things.
Well, my mom she's always been like, my stomach is so strong because I'm always sucking in. And like, she's always kind of used that as like a way to prove that she has a tight tummy. And I'm like, damn, am I always sucking in? I don't know. Now I'm going to think about it.
Yeah. And it's not like anything intentional, right? Because
But it's so,
It's like a subtle
it's
moment,
so little,
but it sticks with you.
It sticks with you. And I was like,
Well, it's also compounded with like the insane beauty industry
Yes.
and weight industry. And yeah, that's really wild
Isn't
though.
that
I
crazy?
love that.
do you have any like really crazy stories that you can share? Or,
like fun client stories?
Yeah, fun
Oh, I
client
have a lot.
stories.
Yeah, I have a lot of cool ones. I was doing some one-off sessions like when I first started and was trying it out while I was like getting certified. And to this day though, like the results have still stuck. I had one woman, she had a fear of swallowing like supplements, pills. One session, to this day, every year on that day, she messages me. She's like, can still swallow my supplements. Like,
Oh, I
she's
love
like,
that.
thanks to you.
That's so cool.
I'm like, that was really cool. You said fear of flying. There was a fear of driving on the freeway, like the highway. So there was a woman and like really deathly afraid to drive on the highway. Now, totally fine. I had another client, it was quitting smoking,
Okay.
and she realized she wasn't going to meet the love of her life until she quit smoking.
Mm.
And it was literally a week after we had one session, quit smoking, but she met this guy and she kept like showing him and talking about him. Oh my God, this must 4 years ago? She's still with him, which is cool. So it's
That's
like you
awesome.
see, it's like little, like the synchronicities.
Mhm.
that compound for people. But then from business owners, like seeing their success. Like I heard, because I had a bunch of clients and students with me this weekend, and they like casually would say things. And they were like, yeah, I 2 times my revenue from last year for over like the past 2 years. Another person, we did a breakthrough day last year, and she was like writing out some money revenue thing. She just goes, wow, seeing that number would, I would get really afraid. She goes, nah, I'm neutral. And then another one said she had 138% increase in revenue. So like those I just heard and wrote down because I like heard them saying it in passing. And I was like, this is so cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
really
like, I'm
neat.
like, where's my laundry list of like creative ideas? I'm like, what kind of fears can I start like just
ticking
checking
off the
off?
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I did one of my breakthrough days with my mentor, with Erin, we focused on, it was like love and relationships for me. That's the area I wanted to focus on because I was with my boyfriend, weren't engaged yet. And I wanted to focus on, and he has a son. So he was married before and has a son. His son's 16 now. And I also wanted to like work on me opening up more to him because I didn't want to like step on toes.
Yeah.
Because I knew how that was for me growing up after my mom passed and my dad brought somebody in. And after my breakthrough day, no joke, it was probably like 6 weeks later, we were engaged.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of very cool stories. But I think the important thing I do like to share about this work is I never want people going in thinking it's this big, aha, like wild thing that's going to happen. It's typically these subtle, small shifts that happen over time that lead to these
the
big,
bigger change.
Yeah.
So cool.
That's the work.
Yeah.
The little small things.
Yeah, it's the baby steps. Like we were talking just previous about asking. Like we want to ask these big things, but it's practicing your asks in your daily life. It's like the small ask every day.
Every day.
That's such a beautiful mirror to entrepreneurship too, because it's really the small things you do that actually make the big things happen.
Yes.
Not these huge leaps and bounds that like I think it's hard because we see so many founders that are already at the success and then now they're starting to share the journey more, but before you're just like, how the hell did they get there, and you just think that they have something you don't. And I love that founders are blowing up right now because you're really seeing the journey. You're like, oh, I'm not alone. Okay. Like they don't know what the fuck they're doing either. Like no one knows.
Nobody knows. And I think it's like the more we can be like real and open, because it's like I'll share with my students and clients all the time. I'm like, I will never gatekeep anything from you guys because like that's what I always thought, like I was sharing before, oh no, they have all the answers or they have the keys to my success. We're all in the same boat. I mean, all of us.
Yeah, a huge thing
You
too
just
is like
figure it out.
they might be great at making money, but they're terrible in their love life or they're, there's like different areas. I think it's so easy to focus on the dollar sign or the money or the number, but I wouldn't trade having $10 million for a horrible marriage, or poor health or anything like that.
Correct.
So I think it's also recognizing like maybe you're thriving in an area that someone else that you look up to is actually really struggling.
I love that.
I wanted to ask you, like you've mentioned, like investing in other mentors, but also trusting yourself. I would love to know like your process into investing and identifying mentors that are meant for you. And if you have any like stories about like, ooh, don't do that. Like definitely want to hear that. Or just like, who do you really look into while also trusting your own intuition, your own wisdom?
Yes, that's a great question. I typically now stay with the same mentor over the course of a really long time. I have 2 mentors in the work that I'm certified in, and I know if I'm going to work with someone long term, they have to be certified in somatic and subconscious. It's just I personally cannot work with someone that's just strategy because they're not understanding that
the other piece of it.
That piece. And because I'm so immersed in it, it's so important because it drives the majority of our behaviors.
You're like, it is the 95%.
It is. So I stay in mentorship. I mean, I've been working with Erin 4 years.
Wow.
I have my other mentor, Rachel, where I did all my trainings with Rachel. And I will pop in and out of mentorship with her, maybe through like some small immersive things. And then when I'm looking at, because I actually invested in a male coach last year that I worked with for 6 months. I had known him for a really long time. So I knew like the kind of human that he was. And at the end of the day, because that was a very significant investment, at the end of our time together, like, yes, he was super smart. And I walked away being like, there's nothing that like he knew more that I didn't.
What did that feel for you?
Well, at first I was like, why did I invest all that money? And it was a really great experience because I did have that. So when I got fired from Lululemon, there's probably an interim where I didn't have another job. And then my now husband, he was like, hey, you got to help pay the mortgage. So I had an HR job while I was building my business. And again, that one about being fully expressed, that took me a long time to share that part of me because I felt like shameful because I didn't have it figured out yet because I still had a full-time job while building my business. And I got laid off from that 2024. And so I went into 2025 thinking, okay, this is the first full year in my business. Like, this is going to feel super expansive. So that's why I invested in working with this male mentor for 6 months because I was like, no, this feels like super expansive. And he's in California. So I was flying to California like once a month.
Oh, wow.
To do like in-person strategy sessions with him. And he's wonderful. But at the end of the day, I'm like,
You knew this.
I got this.
So maybe that was what you paid for.
I got this.
The
And I use my
reassurance.
pendulum a lot.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm. Whenever I'm going to make a really big business decision, and I don't know if you guys caught on when Erin was like, wait out for Julie. I'm a last minute Linda when it comes to investing. I know I'm going to invest in you, but it'll be like the very last minute.
Like the night before
the doors close. Like, no, like last second.
You also
that's how I
made
am.
a post about this recently,
Yeah,
though.
that's how I am.
Like, but for your own business,
Mhm.
you're like, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep
Yeah.
marketing. And then you
For
said
me.
everyone came in at the end.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah,
which
I
is
had-
so cool.
There was like 56 people. And like, I think it was the majority came in like the last 48 hours. So
Which
like,
kind of makes sense when that's the energy you're carrying. Of course, you're attracting what you are.
yeah.
Like,
So like, you got to
Linda's.
please hold out for me always. But what was I going to say was it Erin I was talking about? Oh, pendulum.
Yeah.
So I'll always know like I want to make the investment, but I will always, because that's a way to communicate with subconscious mind, I will use my pendulum.
I love
So
that.
cool.
Yeah, because it still feels like inner
Your inner knowing.
How does the pendulum connect with your subconscious?
So it's like little teeny tiny movements where it's like signaling from your subconscious so that it's actually starts moving. The pendulum when it's in your hand of like a yes, no. So it's really just me asking, is it for my highest and best that I invest in this for my business? Yeah.
So cool. I love that you brought that up.
I love pendulum
that's
work.
cool.
Yeah.
So it's I always use that at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I have 10 minutes. Should I join this group?
No, I'm like, no. And I will ask it
night
a couple
before.
times because sometimes I'm like, was that the right answer that it said? But no, it's like the trusting. And I think we've all made investments in our business where we're like, okay, maybe that wasn't the best thing I actually could have done. And I also think you're always going to learn something.
Oh, 100%.
All the
There's
time.
always
I don't
a
think
lesson from
anything's
it.
a bad investment. You just
Anything
always
you ever
learn.
experience leads you to something, and you got something out of it that leads you to the next thing. Or
Always.
it comes up like 10 years later,
Mhm.
and you're like, oh, I did use
That's
that.
why.
Literally.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to share before I ask you the next one?
I don't know.
What do you think the biggest shift for yourself has been out of everything from the
Good
woman
question.
you were at Lululemon
Oh
to
my God.
now?
That's a loaded one. There's a lot. I was in proving mode and proving energy a lot there. And I'm going through a rebrand right now for my business that feels very expansive. That's why I'm like, I know Q1 in my business is not, when we were talking about like consistent months, like I know Q1 and Q3 for me are slower quarters, and it's usually Q2 and Q4 that are higher. So going into Q1 doing the rebrand, like I knew was going to probably put me in the red. But I'm going through a rebrand and it very much feels like expansive. And I was just saying to one of my clients on the train right here, like my people that work for me in my business, they were like, you can do this like big event and this like big reveal. I was like, no, I think it's just a quiet, let it unfold, because a big thing would feel like the proving energy. And I don't feel
You're in that place.
I'm in
anymore.
that place anymore. So I'm not in the proving. I think the comparisonitis, that used to be really big, not in that anymore. Although The one thing I go to, and it's not comparison, but I always ask myself, okay, what's my unique differentiating factor? Because that is part of my internal conditioning. Because it's just like when I grew up and my mom passed, that made me very different in the town that I grew up in because I was only 10. So I was like the only person who
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
have
Mom.
like a mama and a dad. And at first when I was younger, I thought it was like really a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I felt different. But now it's part of my programming and I actually like and look forward to that. And I'm like, okay, how am I being different? Or like, what's my unique differentiating factor? So I'm always thinking like that. So it's like, that's the lens I look at it versus a comparison now. I'm like, what's my unique differentiating factor? The neutrality. I would say being able to look at things and not make it also mean something about me.
Mm.
Having it be like data and feedback.
How has it shown up in your personal life? Because this sounds, right now it's like all related to business, but how has it
Mhm.
shifted I know you mentioned obviously getting engaged.
And
Yeah,
marriage
we can talk
perfect.
about my
and
wedding.
married.
Oh,
What
yeah, we should
happened?
talk
Oh my
about
God,
that.
and I had so many fun things happen. Like, interesting. So we called them the wedding dress debacles. My first wedding dress, because there was multiple, not on purpose.
Mm.
First one, I probably ordered it, we ordered like 9 months in advance or something like that. And it came in, and then my first fitting, they have you always order like a size larger than you
Right, 'cause
should
you're gonna
be for
fit
the
it to your body.
alterations and all that. And so when I went to my first alterations, instead of like picking it up and adjusting and then hemming, they hemmed it first. So when you did pick it up, it was too short.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh, this is good. I'm about to go get my hem. Tell me more.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
please make sure if it's too big, you pull
Put
it,
it in the right
adjust it, like
place,
where should
yeah.
it be? And then hem should be last always.
Did they take responsibility for that?
No.
No?
Stop.
No.
Oh,
What?
no.
No. And so this was, I was meant to go through this for some I don't know, some reason. So they didn't take responsibility, which that was really hard to navigate, but I really did, I would say for the most part, and most people would agree, pretty much kept my cool that whole time.
Mhm.
And
You're
then
like, this is for my highest good. This is
like,
for my highest
I'm like,
good.
what is happening? And then I ended up getting a second dress.
Mm.
And that was actually, I think it probably happened this way for a reason. It was the weekend of my bridal shower, and my stepmom, who was in Florida with my dad, she was in town, and I had gone and looked at a dress before, couldn't order new, had to be off the rack at this point. And I said, you know what? I'm like, there's a dress I really liked. I think I'm going to go back. I think I'm going to get it. And she's like, oh, I'm in town. Do you want me to meet you there? And I'll see it with you. And I was like, yeah, that would be great. And she liked it. I liked it. Okay. I'm like, great. This is a done deal. And she offered to pay for
Oh, I love that.
so I think the
Sweet.
first thing happened so that she could be present and then
part
for
of
that to happen, which was really nice. And then later, that dress had a mix up in the alterations as well too.
What?
Stop.
Yeah.
What happened?
They made it too tight.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Did they
Now I
take
have-
responsibility?
No.
Did
So
you go to the
then
same person?
no, so this is two different stores.
Oh, okay.
Because
my
I was like, I'm not
gosh.
going back to this store.
Yeah.
And then you start to think, is it me? So then I'm like, is this me? So it was too tight. And this was the week of my wedding now. This was my final alteration. You pick up the dress and you go. It was too tight. And one woman, Marty, who was there this week, the mediation attorney, she also does some business stuff for a seamstress. She's like, I can get you in. And she hooked me up with this seamstress who's phenomenal. And they worked their magic and they had my dress for 2 nights and they had to completely deconstruct it and put it back together. And they worked their magic. But through the whole wedding process, I mean, I kept my cool during that. So just in terms, and a lot of people saw that, and I showed that a lot online.
Yeah.
And then additionally, what came up too was experiencing, because I haven't had my mom since I've been 10. So it's been a very long time. And at that point, she's not going to be here for your wedding, but it doesn't hit until you're actually like
At your
getting
wedding.
married. And so I had a lot of grief come up last year too, to like navigate as well.
My cousin, I have 4 cousins that are all sisters, and they lost their mom in 2022 and then their dad shortly after. And one of them, 3 of them now are married, but none of them had their parents at their wedding.
It's
And
hard.
I've cried at all of them, you know, because I'm very close with them. And I've just been thinking about what that would feel like to not have your mom or
Mhm.
your dad, but your mom especially, to like see
Ah,
those parts of you and to get to celebrate that in you. And they gave beautiful speeches and like we honored them really beautifully. But yeah, I can
it's
completely,
hard.
it's so hard. And you don't think about it until those big moments. I can imagine like when they have kids and those things
Mhm.
that you're just, your parents
Yeah.
are such a huge part of typically.
Yeah. And the wedding day, everything was great. And then I had a lot of things happen at my wedding when I look back at it. The only way I was honoring my mom, her favorite flower was a tulip.
Mm.
So I was gonna have white tulips as my bouquet, and the florist forgot. So I had a whole different bouquet. And I looked at like my wedding coordinator, who was a past client, and I was like, those aren't my flowers, are they? And then the florist didn't apologize until after. And which the flowers I had, they ended up being gorgeous and they worked wonderfully. But it was that. I didn't have that piece, like that connection, which I thought I was going to have. And then my hair and makeup went a little bit later and prolonged some things. And then I ended up snapping at my sister because for me, when you talk about like having her present, I wanted to be present and open to the signs. And
Mm.
because I felt rushed, it felt like that was being taken away. So like in that moment, I think because I was pretty calm throughout everything, I
You're like, that was
finally
it. That was when you
snapped.
snapped.
You were
You're like, I'm
okay,
done.
at that capacity.
I finally snapped, and my sister thought it was more of like a being like a having a loss of control and being a bridezilla. And this is where I remember I was talking to Erin about it because being misunderstood is a very big thing for me
Mhm.
and one thing I'm always working on. But that day I was like, it didn't actually phase me what she thought because I knew what was actually really going on
Right.
for me, which was like another kind of just like example of like the work that I've done over the years because I would have let that also derail me, her thinking XYZ.
Right.
I also have a big fear of being misunderstood.
Oh, it's a big one.
Oh, and it's so sneaky.
It's so
Mhm.
sneaky.
So sneaky. Like whenever I realize it, I'm like, oh wow, I'm really caring. Like I don't want to be misunderstood.
Mhm.
Which also is like I don't want the way that I want to be perceived. But there's like this misunderstood piece. I'm like, no, if you only knew my truth and you really understood,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then I would feel safer. But
See, I think sometimes that still prevents me from being fully expressed in what I want to say,
mm, same.
right? Like
I
the being
think, yeah,
misunderstood.
being misunderstood is like the biggest one, right?
Mhm.
Especially in using your voice, in your expression, like something that I navigated in entrepreneurship, especially being a coach. Well, I was a coach, now I'm not a coach, but just creating content online.
Yeah.
I went down the path of like, okay, how do I say this
So it doesn't
my
offend
way?
anyone.
And then I got into
Yes.
trauma informed marketing, which was like all about, speak to everyone and it's going to make so
Yeah.
much sense. And you're not going to trigger anyone. I was like, well, then I'm not going to speak to anyone,
Yeah.
And it was
It's
just
hard.
always coming from this place of like, I don't want to be
Yeah.
misunderstood. And now, I do so much more work till I get to this place of like, well, if I said it, I said it.
Mhm.
And if you misunderstood, I'm definitely open to conversation, to sharing
Yes.
like, hey, this is where I was coming from. You made this assumption, blah, 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 blah. But letting go of like that process and not managing their response
Yeah.
is a big one.
It's a big
It's a big one.
one. Mhm. I still work on that.
Same.
Yeah. And I think that'll always be a work in progress.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
all these parts, like something that I think about, it's just like you said, bridging the gap.
Yeah.
Like making the reaction, the trigger just a little bit smaller, a
Yeah.
little bit smaller, or holding more capacity to
Holding
hold more capacity to be in it, things like that. So I think
Yeah.
it's just work.
Mhm.
But being misunderstood, I think, is a big one for women that
Yeah.
don't want to be, that want to be fully expressed, but second guess it.
Mhm. Agreed.
I'm with you.
Mm.
So, where in your life do you want to be more fully expressed? Life, love, or business? What's been present?
Oh. Like my big theme this weekend is like being more. I'm like, I don't have to do more in my business. I feel like pretty solid. It's the being more. And last night I think solidified it for me. I had so much fun at the
Mm.
Savannah Bananas game last night with like dancing. Like I want to be more fully expressed in my playfulness.
Mm. I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So it's like and that can look actually across the board, like more playful in my marriage,
Mm.
more playful with my stepson, more playful with like my nephews and niece, more playful with my dog. My dog is my baby. More playful in my business. Like that is it's the being for me right now. Yeah.
I love this.
fully
Yeah.
expressed with playfulness.
I do think, I don't know if you've always been this way, but like meeting you like yesterday and like being in your presence, you feel playful in your energy.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, you do
Thanks.
feel
Like
like
very
happy
joyful.
and very
Mhm.
joyful and very playful and very open. So I just want to mirror that back,
Thank
that like
you.
you definitely come off as like joyful and playful and open
Thank
and
you.
happy. And
Thank
it's well
you.
received.
Yeah.
Thank you. I received that. And I do feel joyful. I think it's I'm like, what was the energy like? So we were like dancing
Yeah.
and
Oh,
and
it's
I
Like total
expression.
freedom.
yeah,
Like,
and I
Yeah.
feel like maybe there's a rigidity sometimes. And I think I want to let go of that a little bit more because like there were no F's given last night. Just
That's
dancing and
awesome.
I didn't care what it looked like.
let's go.
And that
Yeah, that's
like
amazing.
that's I'm like, what can it look like? Not caring what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so
So
fun.
good.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
And for
Thank
making the
you.
drive and
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
putting it in the weekend. Like, how lucky are we?
How
Yeah.
lucky am I?
It's mutual.
So mutual.
Yeah.
And hopefully I get to come to Boston again and see you.
Please come.
Yeah, she lives in Boston, which is Nick's favorite
Oh,
city.
I know. And
Is
we were
it?
there.
Yeah, it's Nick's favorite city. He loves it. Like we always talk about like hopefully in the future one day we'll just like sit there for spring and going into the
Spring or
summertime,
fall.
fall, and just like park in the middle of Boston,
So
enjoy the city. It's one of my favorites.
And there's so
And
much
it's
you
so
can do.
close to Maine. I mean, there's
Maine's
just
one of my favorite. I was just talking to my Uber driver. Maine's one of my favorite places to go
Mm.
to if I'm gonna like get away for a little bit.
Oh, I love
yes,
that.
all of
There's
it.
a lot you can do.
I know. I love Boston. So we'll
We'll
come
come
visit.
visit.
Come
Yeah.
visit me.
We'll come visit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We hope you loved today's episode and that it sparked something in yourself on your journey to becoming more fully expressed.
Don't forget to check the show notes for all the details and resources from today's conversation. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and takeaways as it really helps us to create better content that actually serves you.
This week, we invite you to show up even more as you, more honest, more real, more expressive in your life and business. And we'll see you on the next one.